Cincinnati from Boston in the summer of 2015, and we really didn't know what to expect. We had never been to Cincinnati. He's an academic. He got a tenure track job in Miami. Opportunity brought us to the city, and we said, what is this going to be like? And part of the reason why we were nervous is because Cincinnati, the historic Obergefell v. Hodges marriage equality case hadn't been decided, and Ohio didn't have marriage equality as the laws on the books, and so we wanted to understand where were we moving and what would our life look like. Fortunately, marriage equality became the law of the land, and we, on a whim, on a random weekend, a month after settling in, we decided to pop our heads into the Contemporary Arts Center, and whoosh, spell was cast. So at that visit, we learned about the Mapplethorpe 25 Symposium, and we were reminded that Cincinnati and the CAC stood at the forefront of the culture wars of the 1990s. There was a rich, deep history, there was a legacy there that impacted our lives. A few weeks later, we attended the symposium, and we became just dizzy with excitement and full from consuming all of the art and the talks and the lecture demonstrations that weekend, because we had found our people, right? We were hooked. Again, the spell was cast and completed. And so today, my husband and I, we find ourselves as volunteers and consultants and cheerleaders for the CAC. But most importantly, we are super honored to be a part and members of the 50. And so for those of you who don't know about the 50 is a diverse group of young, engaged, progressive citizens who are committed to the city and the vibrancy of the urban core of Cincinnati. We've supported free admission for 5 years at the CAC, providing access to world-class contemporary art for all people. So like if you're near the 50, please stand. There's 50 standing. If you're standing, raise your hand. All right, so I want you to give a round of applause for this group. I'm partial to go whoop-whoop to the 50. Thank you, we appreciate you. And I'd like to take this moment because I also want to recognize our health professionals, right? Our nurses, our doctors, our social workers, our administrators, all those who stand on the front line of COVID-19 and have done work so that we can gather here in this moment in person. So our health professionals, if you're in the room, stand up. And I know some doctors in this room, so don't be shy. Dr. White, you better stand up. Yeah. And let's shower them with some love and prayer. Let's connect to them because they are literally keeping us safe. We thank you, we recognize you, and we appreciate you in this moment. So tonight's theme of the gala is fast forward, right? And so to me, fast forward evokes a feeling of time and travel. So with that in mind, I want to offer us a framework to consider tonight's theme, right? Something for us to meditate on. So the Aymara people of South America, they think about time in the future a bit differently. See, they view the future as being in front of us because it's the thing that we can see so clearly. And so when we consider the idea of futurism as being what you imagine, we probe our thoughts by pondering the question, what type of future do you see? And if we use the Aymara framework, we know that the CAC sees a future that is grounded in and informed by a deep legacy of innovative work. We know and as we daydream and imagine what we can be, see, we know that we're floating on the clouds of inspired women in leadership because we can see our past so clearly as we move forward. And when we're thinking about this daydreaming and the clouds that we're sitting on, they're pushed forward by breezes that are made up of over 80 years of showcasing the creative process through stimulating art and accessible education programs. And with the past that rich, we fast forward into the future boldly and confidently, and most importantly, together. And in doing so, right, we are forging a path to an ideal tomorrow. We're inching ever so closely to making it so, and we are fueled by the urgency of the present moment. We're also here because of the incredible work and labor of many. However, I would like to take the opportunity to recognize one of the many, my friend Rafaela Plateau, who ended her 14 years of service to the CAC as the executive director, during which the museum embraced free admission and featured innumerable groundbreaking exhibitions, including the recent Art in Race Matters at the career of Robert Cole Scott, which is now generating a lasting impact as it continues to travel the country. So Rafaela can join us, but let's give her a round of applause. And let's just radiate that energy out to us, because we are here because of her work. And so lastly, if you will, Queen, as we embrace tonight's gala, I'd like for us to do something. I want us to move from objects that are being acted upon and to subjects that experience transformation, right? So let's take a moment, everyone, and let's notice where you are in your body. Where are you in your body right now? What are your shoulders doing? What are your feet doing? What do you see? What do you hear? Now I want you to look at your neighbor. But look at your neighbor and see your neighbor. Not just the person you're sitting next to, but see them. And in seeing them, notice something you hadn't seen before. I want us to bring awareness to all of our senses, but we're gonna do this exercise with quiet mouths. Oh, y'all are rowdy and turned up. We're gonna bring it back down. Thank you. Y'all with me? Are you with me? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Oh, this guy's over here is really with me. I appreciate you. And so here's what we're gonna do. So you took note. Take this sense of awareness and keep this throughout the entirety of the evening, right? And take note of where you begin and where you will end. And I want you to experience a small transformation as fast forward. Because here is the truth. Despite the necessary distance that we feel now, I am so happy to see you in person, but it's a little awkward, right? It's like, do I shake your hand? Do I do an elbow bump? Do I leave a mask on? Do I take it off, right? These are growing pains. But for us, the CAC, we are embarking on a long-term effort to connect with you all. We want to reawaken with our community together. Because what we do is we promote artists and exhibitions and performances and programs that challenge us, exemplifying the creativity as a catalyst for both reflection and progress. So with that in mind, and in the spirit of moving boldly and confidently into the future, I'd like to introduce to some and present to others the future of the Contemporary Arts Center, Marcus Marjoram, our interim executive director. Marcus.